Hey everyone, welcome to The Culture Show. Hannah here from Purpose Jobs, the largest community of purpose-driven professionals. We are so passionate about helping folks find meaning in their work. That's why we decided to go behind the scenes with awesome startup and tech companies to really dig into their culture and what it's like to work on their team. We're so excited to share those discoveries with you and know you'll find some good nuggets along the way. Thanks so much for tuning in, and let's get started. Hey folks, thanks so much for tuning in with us. Today, I'm excited to be joined by Mendel from Gearsupply. He's the CEO and founder, and I'm thrilled to be able to share more about their culture. Mendel, can you go and start by sharing more about yourself and what Gearsupply does?
100%. Yeah, so I have always been very fascinated by re-commerce, being able to take things and resell them a second time for two core reasons. Number one, it's sustainable, and I would say less from the traditional kind of sustainability play, more about like the waste element of it. That I like to call myself a religious environmentalist. I feel God has put limited resources in the world. It's not fair for us to just use them as we please, and we should try our best to, when possible, reuse. So number one, it's cool to be able to take things and put them back in the world, and number two is you create value that is such intrinsic value. You take something that somebody needs and somebody wants to get rid of, and you connect the two of them. There's no gimmicky marketing that has to happen in between them. So that's something that I've been doing my whole life. I've always been involved in resale. My parents are rabbis, and they didn't have a ton of money growing up. So I had to kind of rely on other things to get the spending money to be able to buy the toys and gadgets my buddies had. And so I would knock on neighbors' doors and ask them if I could resell whatever crap they had lying around the house on eBay. So I have been doing that my whole life, really fascinated about how to figure out what gear is worth, how to figure out what items are worth, and how to market that and resell that, and what ways to sell that. If I combine it with this, if I clean up that, does that increase the value, decrease the value? And wanted to get involved in the concert music production industry. And in trying to do that, found out that there is a very, very poor way of dealing with all this old gear that you see. So you go to a show, you go to a concert, and you see these humongous stages and video walls that are 100 feet long, and speaker towers that have 60 speakers, each speaker being 3-4 feet wide. That's a lot of gear. It takes up a lot of space. That has a lot of value. And the industry was really, really good at putting on these amazing shows. I like to say, like, the industry, if you go to a show, you feel like you're in 2050. We were just talking before the call about the Sphere in Las Vegas. I mean, that thing looks like the future. Like, that looks like it's in a Star Trek movie. But then you go to the back offices of these businesses, and it feels like you're in 1950. Like, there's not like this advanced system of, you go to the airplane industry, every single part of every single airplane gets recycled into the next airplane. That's not what our industry is like. So there's a big gap. And I realized, as much as I love music, I would much rather be able to provide value in an industry that drastically, desperately needs a way to transition out of old equipment, and for the smaller, and medium-sized companies to be able to buy old equipment, because it's great equipment. It's equipment that, I'm thinking about speakers in your house. You may have speakers in your house that are 25 years old that sound just as good as whatever Bose Bluetooth speaker you turn on. So there's not a need to constantly replace this gear. It's just, companies that are newer, higher end clientele need the newer gear. But there's a humongous component pool of production companies, venues, churches, auditoriums that would love quality gear, but they can't pay full price and can buy something that's 6-7 years old. So really focusing on solving that issue is what Gearsupply came here to do. Thank God we've been pretty successful at that issue so far. I'll talk more about that shortly, but that's kind of my background and how I ended up in this position. I never thought this is what I'd be doing for a living. I thought I'd be in a studio somewhere, but this is cool. To every single deal we do, we know we provide value, and that's awesome. We love that.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for walking through that and through the founding story. I always love the founding stories behind how a startup came to be. Kind of talk to us about where Gearsupply is now. Where are you based out of? How big is the team? How does the team work? Is it remote? Is it hybrid? All of that. Tell us some of those basic details.
Yeah, 100%. So we bucked the trend a little bit when it comes to work culture and what our styles are. And I like to say we bucked the trend when you compare it against what you see in Business Insider and Entrepreneur Magazine and these other things. But when you actually read the stories of how these startups were founded, I think we're pretty closely aligned with some of the best technology companies that you use on a daily basis, your Apples, your Facebooks, your Ubers, whatever it is. We believe very, very strongly in in-person work, and making that as inspiring and collaborative is almost a buzzword, like as efficient as possible. It's an efficiency thing. We want our team to build trust so quickly between each other so that we can criticize each other's work without feeling like this is a personal attack, but this is actually us both being on the same team trying to win. And we need to be open to taking that feedback right away. And it's difficult to do that when this is somebody you've never met and hung out with. It's much easier to do that when you make a joke with them and you talk about what you've done on the weekend, and you even go out with them on the weekend because they live 2 blocks away from you. You have that trust, and it's the equivalent of somebody you play ball with and you're saying, hey, you shouldn't pass it like that. You should pass it like that. And, of course, we played ball for the last 3 weeks together. Like, he's a good guy, and I know he's not trying to attack me. So to answer the question, where we're holding today, we have about 20 people. We just raised $4 million in a seed round, thank God, from one of the key players in the industry, which is awesome. We are growing very fast. We're looking to scale our sales team drastically. Most of our team right now is in marketing and software engineering. That's where the bulk of the team is. We're not looking to become, a Cushman Wakefield big brokerage for concert production equipment. We're looking to build the technology so that people can do most of that work themselves. Like, if you think about a Zillow, for example, like, you don't need to have a realtor in some random city that you're looking to buy a vacation home. You go on Zillow and you find it. Yeah, that realtor will show it to you, but you can do 90% of that work yourself. You know what you're looking for. You have a 360 tour. You have your own agent come out there. We're looking to provide that level of ease of access so that we can keep costs down on both sides. So we're really focused very, very heavily on marketing and engineering and building out the right tools and figuring out how to get those tools in front of the right people so that we can get as much inventory onto one catalog, so that when a company looking to buy a used speaker system goes on there, they're not reaching out to 7 different companies. They buy it all in one easy catalog. So based in Cincinnati, right now we're based in OTR, across the street from Philly Market. If anybody knows where that is, cool little spot in Cincinnati. We're probably going to move downtown across the street from the Bengal Stadium, which is pretty cool. We'll be there soon. Office is pretty cool. Video game systems all over, music systems. Got a big video wall. Definitely try to keep it fun and lighthearted, but do good work and focused around that. So that's kind of where we're holding. And definitely in person is a must for us. We have a pretty flexible PTO component, so roughly 30 days total off a year, because we definitely don't want people burning out. We want people to be able to really decompress and take their time off and do what they need to do. But the second you get back to the office, everybody's here because they want to win. Again, I use another sports reference, and I say this reference all day long. We want to be like the Heat, the Miami Heat, or the Devil Rays, like teams that are known for people taking pay cuts, not necessarily that we want to pay people less. We don't actually usually pay more. But where people take big sacrifices to join a team that they know is going to win. And they will do that gladly because they know that the Heat and the Rays have a track record of being a phenomenal team, because everybody puts in the highest level effort. So we don't expect people to sacrifice from a salary perspective, but definitely from a work-life balance perspective. We're all aligned around career growth and growth around our products that we're creating and being able to build really cool things. And everybody who's here has prioritized the work that they're doing at a high level. And this is the times of their life where they say, hey, I want to put in my good couple of years right now, really get a lot done, get a lot under my belt, be able to touch all these things that I won't be able to touch in some big corporation. Yeah, you're right. At 5 p.m. I sign off, but I'm also, filling out dumb, paperwork about some, report that they need me to fulfill because some stakeholder somewhere in Arkansas asked for it. None of that exists here. We're just building things every single day, but we need everybody to be at that same level, because 2 or 3 of us may be up until 1 a.m. in the office, after a couple of games of Mario Kart and, a couple of pies pizza later, we're back to work and trying to knock it out. And to have the 4th person say, hey guys, sorry, I can't talk because it's 5 p.m. Good luck on your project. I'll see you guys next Monday. Doesn't really work. So if we're all going to put that level of sacrifice, we need a team around us that's all putting in that same level of sacrifice. And for bigger rewards, everybody that has come on has seen tremendous salary growth and career growth potential. And it just here being able to touch all the things that you touch.
Yeah.
I like to say, like, if you come on and it's too intense for you, odds are you're going to make more money at the next job. We paid you probably more than where you came from, but you will have been upskilled so much because you touch so much that even if it is too intense for you, you now know 2 or 3 more skill sets that you wouldn't have been able to touch elsewhere. But really just being really upfront about that. Like, we're not looking for the easiest, funnest route. We're looking for the coolest route. We're looking for the thing that we can build that's most impressive, that is, that you'll look back and say, wow, I can't believe it. We literally just took this product, got these manufacturers, got these banks, got this whole deal together. Everyone's doing it. Now the whole industry uses this every single day. And I built that. And I did the marketing for that. And I built the sales campaign that was able to get everybody at the trade show to wear our shirts, or whatever these crazy stories that you read about in the PayPal startup books or whatever it is. So that's really what our culture is like. And we've done a great job at keeping that culture. And there's like, anybody who likes that type of work, it'll be a breath of fresh air to be surrounded by people like that.
Yeah. And yes, I think surrounded by people like that, people that are in the same mindset and are there and ready to put in that work. Love that. Thanks for walking through that, Mendel. Is there anything else about the culture that you would want to share with potential talent joining the team?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we to a fault often like to let people try out all sorts of crazy ideas. And to a fault being that oftentimes we realize, like, after doing all that, we're like, yeah, we should have just hired a consultant and we shouldn't have tried to figure that out ourselves. But we found that when people want to touch projects and get their hands on something new that they haven't worked on, so say it's somebody, on the CRM team that wants to build out some sort of data modeling project. And so they're going to now reach out to 4 or 5 vendors and try to make some sort of deal that the vendors are going to provide data on how the customers have been using that equipment for the last X amount of years. You're not a data engineer, you're a software engineer building out a CRM. But because you know the CRM and you understand the value of the data that we have in the CRM, you got curious, well, what would happen if I overlaid that CRM information that we get from our customers with what the manufacturers tell us? Is there any cool correlations that we can find out that influence how we should present and market this gear? So that's the type of project that doesn't fit in your role, and in another company you wouldn't be able to try. By us, we want you to try this, even if it ends up being that you weren't the best person for that. We need to go use a consultant. That sort of range of being able to test out so many things makes you so much more battle tested, to have so many more tools. Even if you don't use that specific piece that you built, next time around when you're building this next CRM tool that it is within your framework, you're like, well, maybe I should build it so that when the data question comes back, I'm going to use these 3 or 4 data points. So let's put that in up front so that these points are collected. That's a kind of boring example, but that sort of idea, like, where we really want people to be touching as much things as they can. To me, I'm a huge believer of the book Range. I don't know if you read that book.
No, I'm not.
It just it goes through like all these artists and how like some of the biggest artists that we know never got any sort of classical training and did 17 different things before they chose their specific focus. And the benefit of being able to touch so many things and wear so many hats to create somebody that's really, really capable and really smart and knows how to build really cool things. So that's a huge part of our culture, is like no work is beneath anybody and no work is above anybody. Like everyone can try everything and touch everything.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. You mentioned generally around 30 days off per year. Any other more like tangible benefits? It sounds like, really great pay, competitive pay. Any more of those like tangible benefits that you would think are really great to highlight that are maybe unique in comparison?
Yeah. So those are probably the 2 biggest ones that flow through on LinkedIn. We do give out equity. And that's very important to us for the same reasons that I just said earlier. Like, this has to feel like it's a team. And I don't take anywhere near the highest salary in the company. And I think that's important because I want to lead by example, showing people that I have all my chips in on the equity side. Everything that I'm doing is on this company achieving X amount of value and creating this amount of value. That is really important to building great products, because it's not just that you want to get good work so that it looks good in your resume. And it's not just that you want to get good work because it's fun. It's you need good work. You need good work for your equity to be worth something. So we beg people to take equity here. It's like, and they know, like, if they take it, like, okay, you're an equity lender. Like we expect like, next class above. We give out, this is kind of cheesy, we give out free parking for people that have equity. And it doesn't matter where you are. Like you could be an admin assistant with equity. You can be working in the warehouse with equity. Like that equity offer is open to anybody. Anybody can walk into my office and say, hey, I want equity. What does that look like? What can I do to get that sort of offer? So that's a huge piece. And I beg people, like, please take me up on this. Like, thank God we have a couple of people that are very passionate about that. And those people are the torchbearers. So those are probably the three biggest, on paper, LinkedIn friendly benefits. The biggest benefit for me is knowing that anybody that comes here will 1,000% have real world experience in things that they want to touch. And 9 out of 10 other jobs that they're looking at and applying for. It's the opportunity. If you're a hard worker, if you're somebody that enjoys, figuring really tough challenges out, has pride in your work, like this is an opportunity to actually put your name on something that is really cool, and you'll get the chance to really do that yourself. To me, the person that wants that is not going to give a crap about any of the other benefits. The fact that they're being paid competitively, great. The fact that they have the time off, like those are all things that we do so that all the distractions are out of the way. Like you need your break, go take your 6-day hiking trip. You need your salary, get your salary. Whatever those things are to get you to not have to feel stressed and bogged down and just focus on doing great work. Take those things. Cool. Now let's get to work and let's build some really cool stuff.
Yeah, I love that. Awesome. Thank you so much, Mendel. Really appreciate your time today. Thanks for tuning in. Y'all can check out Gearsupply's open opportunities online. Follow them on LinkedIn. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in, and thanks for your time, Mendel.
Awesome. Thank you guys.